Hey guys, welcome to today's Gypsy Jazz tune. It's actually a gypsy waltz written by Stephane Wrembel for the film Midnight in Paris. It's called Bistro Fada, beautiful E minor key song, full of great ideas, phrases, and licks. I'm going to teach it to you note by note, rhythm by rhythm, phrase by phrase, completely breaking it down so that you learn it really well. Let's get started. Such as this. So this is kind of an experiment, kind of like the old school way I mentioned of teaching, like, put your finger there, I can't point exactly, but just copy me type of a thing. There's actually a great video I was watching fairly recently. I think it was Dorado Schmidt teaching his son guitar many years ago, and there was like, copy me. It's just the oral tradition of learning, and I think, again, that's a very important part. I'm going to do that with you guys, the copy me approach versus just rambling concepts or anything like that. But you have to definitely keep trying it. I know it's not necessarily one-on-one, but at least it's good that I could keep repeating and you can copy me, etc., and ask questions. And anyways, that's kind of the method I'm trying to use with this approach. I did tab it all out for you, the A section, which is what I want to go over today. There's basically 3 sections, and we're going to basically treat it like it's each section is its own composition. Kind of talking again about some techniques, some of the theory behind it, so that you learn it and can memorize it instead of just kind of, again, reading it. I want you to kind of internalize it. That's definitely the goal here with this. It's kind of an experiment. Again, I'll teach this way when I'm teaching private students. It's actually a really good method, of course, as I just mentioned, like the oral tradition, but it's harder with a group of people. But that's why you really got to make sure that you try it, meaning play it with me here. If you watch Stephane Wrembel play it live on any videos, you'll notice that he doesn't play it the same way twice usually. He's always kind of improvising around it. So that's why specifically we'll just use the recording from the Midnight in Paris soundtrack. I think that's the easiest way to just keep track of it, and not a live version or anything like that where he's changing things around. Even then, there's variation within the A section on the second time through. But we'll look at that again, but today we'll just hit that first A section. So first of all, it's just the intro. We're gonna just break it down chord by chord. And the intro is this, E minor, and I'm just playing this open E minor. I'm gonna, again, walk through it very, very slowly. We have this open E minor. Okay, so for now, I do not recommend this E minor. Okay, if you're just to look at the chord, we can do that later. We could be creative, but for now we'll use just the open E minor. So we're going 1, 2, 3. Okay, boom, chuck, chuck is usually what people refer that to. And then immediately you want to get the third in the bass, the G in the bass. Okay, so you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And you don't need to strum all 6 strings. That's way too much. You just want to isolate and pretty much hit, as I had written on the paper there, 4, 3, and the 2 strings. Okay, you don't need to be very precise, but I mean pretty precise again, but you don't need to like look down and make sure that you're hitting it. Okay, and there I heard the B string. And that's okay, it's all still part of the chord. So again, we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and I'm using my pinky. I'm gonna really break this down for you. I'm using my pinky and I'm holding this E minor like this, but hey, try it like this. Okay, like this. This is often how I would play E minor. Okay, and then you could do the fill. Well, actually, sorry, we're gonna go to F sharp minor 7 flat 5. And if you don't know F sharp minor 7 flat 5, let's go through that very slowly. We have, okay, F sharp, well, I don't know if I should say the notes or the numbers, 2, 2, 2, 1. It's an A minor triad with the F sharp in the bass. And that's the 2 chord. And then instead of going to the 5 chord, which is B7, we're going to just play a riff. And that goes like this. Do you guys all have the tabs with you? The sheet music that I passed out, just for reference. Again, I'm going to go through it over and over. I'm really experimenting here. I'm going to go through it over and over so that you memorize it. You will not need it. I might need it too, though, for a second. But but we have this. And then we're off into the melody. Of course, we could just loop that, which is what we're going to do. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3. So this is why actually I like playing the E minor like this, because it makes it easier to go to the F sharp minor 7 flat 5 like this. So that's why I'm starting with E minor like this versus this. Okay, I'm actually using these fingers. And then I'm using my pinky to grab that G bass. And then here. Okay, and then the riff, I'm using my middle finger. Riff. I'm using my middle finger. And I actually want to do that with you guys a few times. We want to swing it. We want to play it slow at first. We want to swing it. So we want to do this. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. And I'm just alternating my picking. Okay. It's a nice little riff. And again, if you guys already have that down, now's the time to be creative. Now try it up here. Here. You can see what I mean, that just from that opening intro riff, you can make that an exercise and move it all around. It's a really good, valuable skill to do that, okay? Okay, so now we gotta get that pickup note. It's crucial that we practice this the entry to the melody, and it starts on the and of 1. 1. Okay, and I'm gonna play it very slowly. 1. And notice that I'm shifting to my first finger here. That's just my own preference. You might use your pinky. 1. And then you can shift, depending on what your strong fingers are. For me, these 1 and 3 are the strongest, even though I'll use my pinky sometimes for a slur, like this. But I much prefer this. Most players do. So again, I'll talk about that phrase in a second, but let's just get the timing of the pickup measure into the melody. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 1. Ba-doo, ba-doo, ba-dum. So 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. And I have to tell you, that's the E melodic minor scale. If you want, that's how I think of it. Beatles used it on Yesterday like that. You know, B7. And that kind of helps me know, by knowing that. 1, 2, 3, 1. I did this on the end of 1, I did an upstroke. So I went 1. Okay, 1. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Okay, 1. If you want to at this tempo, you can do all downstrokes. 1. And that's fine too. I'm going to have you do what works best for you as far as picking is concerned. Please try it out though, okay? Here we go. Now we arrived here on measure 1. Well, measure 9 really of the sheet music, but measure 1, I call it measure 1 of the A section minus the intro, which is an E minor chord. Don't worry, the chords are pretty easy. We'll come back and play chords, but let's just do this first. Okay, so now we have this 1, 2, 1, 2, and a 3. 1, 2. Okay, we have this slur, this pull off, and then a slide down to the 4. That's why I like this. You could just use these fingers, but I find it stronger to go 1, 2. And even with the timing, I'm doing that as an upstroke. So I end on beat 1 on the F sharp here with the downstroke. 1, 2. Okay, so it's 1, 2. Okay, and now I'm on that B flat, which is the lower neighbor tone of B, which is on the E minor chord, the 5th. Okay, a lot of this half step embellishments. Very, very pretty. So, 1, 2. Okay, let's get that much. 1, 2, right on the G. Imagine we already did those pickup notes. Don't worry, we'll put that back in. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and I could get out the talking metronome. I probably will go that far with this because this to me, with you guys here, is like a glorified practice session. That's how I'm treating it. Like we're all practicing this together to get it down. Okay, so I don't be surprised if you hear the guy go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's hard to count and do all those little licks at the same time, so it's nice to have somebody just designating the time for you. 1, 2, 3. And I'm kind of snapping this. If you guys are having trouble with this, 1, 2. 1. Yes, 2. Right there on the and 2. 1, 2, and. 1, 2, and. 1, 2, and. 1, 2. 1, 2. A little bit slower. 1, 2. This note, just slide right into that 8th fret on the 2nd string, that G, which is a 3rd of the chord. He's actually really just stacking this triad. He's got the G, he's got the 5th, the B, and the 3rd. Do you guys get that? Isn't that sweet? He's targeting chord tones. I always talk about these triad embellishments, and that's really what he's doing, creating this really sweet melody with some rhythmic motifs and also melodic motifs, both. Very compositional. Okay, so we have this again. We have 1. Okay, and there you could use but I don't. You could use whatever fingering feels comfortable. I'm doing my 3rd finger to arrive on this G. because the next lick is on the and 2, and you're gonna definitely want to get your first finger here. 1. Okay, so imagine this. 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is the intro chorus. Get ready. Right here. 1. Okay. And we're gonna do that a few times. I might get my talking metronome out here, if you guys want to just keep practicing. Pro metronome? Get pro metronome. It's free and it's great, and it talks to you. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, or 4, 4. It really, really helps when you're trying to get your timing, your phrasing correct and accurate to know where you're at. Because you can cheat and you might not even know you're cheating. So definitely use the talking metronome. I know it sounds cheesy to use a talking metronome, but I like it. I like it, and I work with my students when we're working on transcriptions, and it really helps. That's pretty good.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Get ready.
2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1.
Okay. We just want to master that much.
1, 2, 3, 1.
And again, you know, you're all in the privacy of your own home, so you can keep working on whatever little section that you want to. I'm just going to keep looping this a few times. I might take out that intro, but I'm going to add the intro in just for now in case you want to give it a try. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Get ready. 1.
2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1.
This is 80.
3.
On the pickup note into measure 9, which is the melody.
3, 1, 2.
Here we go, I'll count. 1, 2, 3, 1.
2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1.
And notice I just kind of completed that lick. I think we should just complete it because that feels like a good spot. So when you do this,
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
and I have to talk a little bit about that musically because this is very pretty again. These are all really beautiful musical ideas. You've got this little chromatic to the root, the third. That's called enclosure when he's going from below it, above it, chromatic into the root. Okay. Again, there's a lot of beautiful compositional techniques here, improvisational ideas, motifs that you can extract from this solo. I'm going to point those out because they're really pretty, and I think it's very important to know that and understand it. And also, if you're jamming with somebody live in a band, you can instantly harmonize. So like if this is on the third, you could go to the fifth and harmonize, you know, to the next note of the chord tone. And that's a great way to create harmonies and new licks from just one idea. So again, this is 1, 2, 2, 3. I'm adding a little dose of vibrato. You know, you want to add some life into these notes. I like to slide into it. Maybe I'll attack it harder. You know, don't just be very polite about it. Really dig in there. So notice my fingering. No matter what finger I chose for that G, I'm still going to use my index finger for the D sharp. And it's almost like a little chromatic exercise. pinky. You might use whatever finger you're, but then you're gonna probably shift to the D sharp with your first finger. So again, that would be this. 1, 2, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3, and 2, 3. First finger. So again, that would be this. 1, 2, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3, and 2, 3. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1.
2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, good. I think you guys all got it. You know, again, I think I'm talking a lot about working out your fingerings. I think we want to get it so it's just automatic, ideally. So it's good to plan out your fingerings ahead of time. But again, sometimes you just got to do what you need to do. I mean, I could demonstrate it just using all with one finger, but in context, I'm trying to figure out what fingering works best so I can actually execute it. Or I might play here. I like it here, it's brighter, and when you watch him on the live video, he's playing it here. So again, I'm just saying, work out your fingerings. We're going to take it about 80 and try to just keep adding to it. But you know, again, you'll also get the timing, the phrasing, very, very important. As a matter of fact, the next phrase is just like the first phrase, but an octave higher. 1. Okay? 1. So we did this, 1. Now I'm going like this, 1. Different fingering. Again, you know, you might say, ooh, I like it better here. I'm just experimenting with different fingerings. But again, I think it lays really well here, 1. 1. So notice how I'm counting. I'm not really saying 1, 2, 3, but I'm going 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay? But I'm sorry, I was definitely faster than 80.
1, 2, 3.
1.
2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Notice I'm ending on my first finger here.
3.
Okay? 1, 2, 3, 1.
2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1.
Again.
2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1.
Let's add this in.
1, 2.
Beautiful.
1, 2, 3. 1.
This is off the third.
3. 1.
If you were to harmonize, you go
1, 2, 3.
or this.
2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
Triple it.
3. 1, 2, 3.
You want to make it even.
2, 3.
3, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. 1,
Okay?
2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1.
So check it out.
3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
Okay, just like this.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, now it's a different phrase there.
1.
Okay,
Two,
so this is measure 13.
2.
Try it with me.
One,
Even
two,
getting the slide to the 7,
one,
like
two.
this.
3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2,
3.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1,
2, 3.
1, 2, 3. 1,
Okay?
2.
And now it's just like this.
1, 2, 3. 1,
Just up an
two,
octave. Same melodic
one,
material,
two,
essentially.
3.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1,
talk about this phrase.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1.
I'm starting on beat 3.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1.
And notice that I wrote slide there from the 6 to the 7. If you guys want to watch my finger here.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
I think that really helps to get that lick down. 1, 2,
3, 1, 2,
right here.
1, 2, 3,
1, 2.
1, 2, 3, 1.
Okay, let's backtrack to 13 and get that much down. 13, 14, and 15.
3,
A few times.
2, 3, 1, 2.
Sorry, here we go.
3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
Let's try it from the beginning of the melody all the way
1,
through that
2,
phrase.
3.
That to me feels like the whole first
1,
big phrase.
3,
1, 2, 3, 1.
2.
Dramatic by doing a rest there. That's not what I wrote. This
3, 1, 2.
That would be what's written, the dotted quarter and then the 8 to the quarter. Instead of this,
1, 2, 3.
That would be more of a quarter with the 8th rest and then the 8th. So you can choose how you want to articulate that really. But let's actually do measure 13 and get through that slur there. This. Make sure you get that. Here we go.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
So I actually kind of like that little pause in there, if you heard that, right?
1, 2.
Here we go, from the beginning of the phrase.
1,
2, 3, 1.
2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2,
section there. I want you guys to just, kind of just basically copy me, and I want to make sure I'm teaching you correctly. But the issue, oh sorry Tony, the issue of fingerings are always going to come up. Leslie and I say, well, I don't like using my pinky. A lot of Gypsy Jazz players don't like using their pinky. So you might have to figure out what fingering works best for you. Same as picking too, I have my own approach to it, and it's not the Gypsy picking. So if you're expecting that, I'm not really doing that. I am focusing a lot on rest strokes, however. This. So where I'm picking and I'm resting the pick on the string underneath it. The only thing that I'm not really observing is downstroke on each new string. And so I think a good place to practice is this. Oh, and there I decided to pick the 10. But actually that's not what's written. It should be versus this. I don't know if you guys can hear the difference, but the latter, that's actually an 8th note and 2 16th notes. Da-lia-da, da-lia-da. It's actually long, short, short, long, versus even triplets. Triple-lia, versus. You guys hear the rhythmic difference? Pretty subtle variation, but it is different, just so you know. I think a good place to just practice right now is this. So I went. Let me get the timing of that phrase. See, I did it differently. So again, my recommendation is practice this, because you got to hear, right? You went and then we have to get this. And I think just, you know, again, repetition. That's why you guys have, you can mute me if you want to. I'm just going to be repeating it anyways. But if you're like, wait, I got to get this. Let's see. You know, slowly get it down. I mean, again, I really want you guys to get it accurately and learn it correctly this time around if you've attempted to play it before. And this way it will stick. But also it really helps to know the theory behind it. Some of these licks, how he's embellishing around the E minor. And then to the B7, the fifth. And this beautiful lick. Right, these arpeggio, these chord tones being, you know, just he's playing around with the rhythm of it, but he's really targeting so nicely the third, flat 9. That's flat 7 to the fifth. That's the third. This is the next phrase, so we should talk about this on the B7 chord, the 5 chord. It's actually very simple, the harmony. So far, we have not left the 1 chord. It's been all E minor. Finally, now we're on the 5 chord. When he went just like this, that's a 5. And then now we're on the 5 chord. Boom, chuck, chuck, boom. And now he does this. And that note, if you're wondering, is not a chord tone. Well, it kind of is. It's a flat 9. B7, flat 9. But I'm playing it here. So if you want to take a look at the next phrase on the B7 chord, please go ahead. And notice that syncopation. 1 and 2 and 3 and ba-da-da. It's a nice little trick to take 3 notes and not play them as triplets. It's not this. It's not da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's again, right hand can kind of dig in there. Practice that right hand. I like sliding into things, you know, you don't have to do that, but you could get right on it if you want to be more precise. And then here's, by the way, that's on the B7, right on the 3rd to the 5th. Like you're in the scale, actually it'd be the harmonic minor scale, E harmonic minor. Which will, again, we'll analyze a little bit further. But right now, B7, flat 9. And then go now to the A, which is the flat 7. See, you see it right here in the B7 chord. And that was flat 7, root, flat 9 to the 5th. So we have we have the flat 7, root, flat 9, repeat to the 5th, B7. So again, these are actually really cool licks that you can steal. Well, we can borrow them, rather. You know, again, these are great lines where you're out targeting chord tones, connecting them. But again, what we want to do is this 2, 3. And to me, it really helps to memorize it by knowing the theory. I'm on the 5 chord. See the bar chord here? You can even think this. B7. I'm on the 3rd. Flat 9. To the flat 7. To the 5th. Okay? Do you guys see that? In the B chord. You got the B, you got the 5th, you got the flat 7, you got the flat 9, you got the 3rd, you got the 5th again. Just like we're doing a diminished arpeggio. Okay, so again, that's the theory through it. Boom, chuck, chuck. 2, 3. 2, 3. Don't forget, where did we just come from? We came from here. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. And then we got to finish out that cool arpeggio there. How you guys doing? I'm wanting this to be very, quote, interactive, but I want you to really try this on the spot. You'll know. You might say, oh, I got to work on that one later or more. You know, don't wear yourself out too, of course, even though I want you to play. I really think this is good. Again, it takes patience, you know, I think, just to go through it, but this is how you learn it really well, by doing it over and over. And you know, as much as I like just kind of demonstrating, you know, play harmonic minor, play diminished, you gotta do it. This is what this workshop is in particular is about, is actually digging in and doing the work. And everybody's at a different level. I do understand that. Maybe some of you have already done this before. So in that case, what I'm suggesting is, hey, harmonize with me. Try to play out, you know, that's why I'm kind of giving you the theory. Meaning this, if I'm doing this, you could do this. You could do this. You know, you could play off the 3rd, the 5th, the flat 9. You can think about where else can I play this if you've already got it. You could be making your own version so that you're really learning how to use these ideas. We have to backtrack. We have to go here. 2, 3. Okay, I just don't want to overlook that much before we finish out this section. So let's try it again with the metronome that far. And I do want to say, be careful when you do this lick. 1, 2, 3. You actually have to count that 1, 2, 3, because you might get off. So when you do this lick and you land here, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. I didn't count the 1, 2, 3, but we'll have our friendly metronome count that for us. But I really suggest going 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then that final lick.
1, 2, 3.
This seems kind of slow now, but that's okay.
1, 2.
Where do I want to start? Right here.
2,
Right here.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
See what I mean?
3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
Okay, let's stop there.
1.
I know 80 is relatively slow from the demonstrations there, but let's get it and make sure you swing it.
3.
Okay, just lay back.
Two,
Da da
three,
da 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 da. 2. Okay, here we go.
2, 3. 1.
Where are we starting? Right here.
1, 2, 3. 1.
Okay, just showing you where we're starting.
1.
Here we go.
2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
I got myself in trouble when I did that slide. I overslid.
2, 3. 1, 2.
Again!
3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1,
phrase that I did there on the B7 chord, the arpeggio.
1, 2,
And then we'll piece it all together so far. Here's the chord B7, bar chord or this, and off the root here, so we're doing this beautiful embellishment, I call it, slur around the root, half step above, half step below. Okay, we're starting on the root and it's a triplet. 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And notice my right hand, I'm just kind of digging in there and I'm resting on the string underneath it. And then I'm picking that as an upstroke. And then I'm adding on the triad, 3, 5. And I'm hitting that with a downstroke and then an upstroke, D sharp, F sharp. And if I wanted it more bright sounding, I'd get back to my bridge. But right now for demonstration, just to show you, you know, this you can even do with your thumb if you want, but okay, so again, just depends on what flavor you want. And that's just a B7 arpeggio. Well, the flat 9 here. So we have the root, 5th, or sorry, root, 3rd, 5th, flat 7, and then the root. Octave, that is. Here it is slow. I don't know if that was slow or not. But give that a try. Bernard, you too. I can't see Bernard if you're practicing because I don't see your guitar. All I see is your face. Oh, he does have a guitar. Good. Well, no, that's good. You know, some people are looking at their fretboard. It's good just to kind of... Again, you know, a lot of this is... There's a lot of good technical stuff out of that we can extract from this. These little dominant arpeggios. Again, I really want this to be a really useful lesson to where you can extract techniques and licks and ideas. You know, put it into Sweet Georgia Brown, put it into Dark Eyes. You know, these little arpeggio licks and phrases. Again, you know, it really just helps to get some phrases down. So this whole arpeggio now, I'm going to complete it. And I just ended up on the flat 7 here. Okay, and then to the 3rd of the E minor. Beautifully, that triad. Yes, if you're harmonizing, you do this. Okay, that's a little too fast. Here it is slow. Here it is slower. 2, 3. And again, I keep stopping there because once you get there, I recommend practicing it like this. So you have, actually I'm going to start on the flat 7, the A, because that, to me, that's nice to have a downstroke. Or a 4 time, of course. Okay, so back to this song. Sorry, I know I'm extracting, I know I'm running out of time, but we have this. And again, you know, you might not get that right now, but at least you get the idea. You get the fact that, hey, this is a B7 arpeggio to the E minor triad. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I'm just holding that as a little triad just for fun. Just letting it ring. Okay? I probably would not do that in context. I'm just demonstrating the fact that this is just an E minor triad. That's how I would do it normally, is single notes like this. 1 and 2, 3. 1 and 2, 3. Again, but notice it is just a triad. Okay, so if you wanted to hold it, beautiful. Now we're on the next section. It starts off, well, not next section, now we're on the second eighth there, and it starts off the same. I get too carried away with slides, it's gonna be accurate. And then that's where it changes right there. So, you know, you already have 4 of those measures down, relatively. Okay, but we're not ready for that quite yet. I still want to backtrack to here. 2, 3. 2, 3. Now we can repeat and loop it there. So again, I'm going to backtrack to here, the B7. The first time B7 was introduced, we went like this. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 1. Okay. So again, I would like for you guys to try this with me. I'm going to slow it down. Actually, I've got Mr. Metronome here.
1, 2, 3.
He's keeping
1,
us honest.
2, 3.
So
1,
that first time the
2,
B7 was
3,
introduced was
1,
on this.
2, 3.
7.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
Here we go.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
1.
2, 3. 1.
Okay. Let's do it again. 80.
3. 1, 2, 3.
Sorry, you guys ready?
2, 3.
Henry, you ready?
1,
Jeremy?
3. 1,
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
To the A.
1, 2, 3. 1,
F sharp.
2.
And right to the root.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
1.
2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1.
And that's where it differs right there.
1.
Because now, you guys actually have the chart in front of you. Now it goes to an E7 chord. The E minor becomes the 5, the dominant of the A minor. So it's the 5 of the 4 chord, the secondary dominant. Basically, you have the E minor right here. And then it goes to the A minor. So that E7's got a lot of power. It really pulls us to A minor, almost like we're in the key of A harmonic minor for that moment. And that's pretty much the kind of the phrase he's doing. I have to look at it note for note. I think that's it. I have to look at it. I always do variations on that. Are we ready for that, or should we backtrack? We still have time. I think I want to backtrack 80 and kick it up to 95. I got the little dial here. No, 90.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
1,
90.
2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1,
Oh, where were we at?
1.
Why not
2,
from the whole A
3,
section
1,
so far?
2, 3, 1, 2.
Here we go.
3,
1, 2, 3, 1.
2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And we can do that again for practice. One, two, three. See how nice that metronome is? Keeps us honest. Woo! That's good practice there. Ideally, I would not move on. Honestly, I would kick it up to 100 and just get that much. To me, that's a very we're pretty close to being done with that A section. We just have to learn this one little lick, that little E7 phrase there. But I'm going to stop again. I want to just ask if there's any questions. Fingers are bleeding. It's pretty fun. Again, I'm hoping that you have fun. Of course, you signed up for this class, and I'm kind of, obviously I'm focusing a lot on rhythm, some of the theory behind it. The chords are pretty straightforward. I don't really have too much to say about it as of now, except go E minor, boom, chuck, chuck. Boom, chuck, chuck, the bass. And I would use these chord shapes. I wouldn't use this. Not for rhythm. It's too overpowering. So you want it nice and staccato. That's often common. We could fancy it up. Again, today's session will not be too fancy on chords. Just make sure you can kind of do that. And one other thought there, Leslie, maybe this is for you. If you're like, hey, I don't really like this E minor shape here, you could go up here and go to E minor 6 on the 12th fret. I'm using 3 note shapes, by the way. That's E minor 6. This is B7. E7 would be this. A minor 6. So again, if you don't again, say, oh, I can't do this shape, I'm not gonna do it. So we'll have fun with the rhythm next time. We'll kind of dig into that a little bit more. of course, today. Let's finish out this section. I think you're all doing good. You get the idea. I would still just loop that much, but let's take a look at the E7 measure. So by the way, I didn't show you how we entered that lick, just like before. Right here. So we go. Beautiful E7 phrase on the harmonic minor. Okay. So you want to do this. Oh, by the way, the E7 chord starts on 29. This starts right before the E7. It's still on the E minor. So it's kind of a transition lick. Almost like it's he's thinking E7 early, which would be called anticipating. We should do that with the metronome in a second. But 1, 2, 3. He's just having fun with the harmonic minor scale. Which one on E7? A harmonic minor. These little phrases like that. That's all that lick is coming off of. And then it goes to A minor. And he goes. And then he stays on A minor. Which is almost like a Dorian mode is what this is. By the way, the chord says A minor. Of course, you want to play A minor 6. You know, you don't want to do this. Well, you could, but... And that was the final part. That's C7, B7. That's tritone sub, nice and dark to the E minor. To turn it around, of course, back, and that's your A section. I will show you some variations next week, and we'll hit the B section, which is kind of almost like Dark Eyes style, where it focuses more on the 5 chord instead of the 1 chord. This section focuses a lot on the 1 chord with a few of those dominants thrown in. The other goes to the 5. The B section starts on the 5. Some good licks. Okay, so I think I want to hit this E7 lick again. We should go, and I'm not actually going to do this. To me, that's where the transition ends into the new phrase. So again, backtrack, what measure? 27 would be this. See, that's where I think is exactly the same as before, except he doesn't do this. But now it's this. And that's where I want you to get that lick. I'm shifting so I can slide. I didn't notate the slide. Let's see if you need to do that. Yeah, you don't need to. I think I did it because not everybody's gonna slide. So you could do this. You don't have to go. But, again, work out your fingerings. I like to do this. And again, very slowly, that lick on beat 2 is 1. Okay. Mr. Metronome at 90.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Start on 27 on that where I talked about earlier when Tony asked about getting a little bit muddy in that area. That's a good place to start. Same thing, right on that slide on the 8th fret.
3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1,
Yeah, well, and I think it's also helpful to know the harmonic minor scale is this. It's nice to know, like, oh, I can, he's gonna do that live anyways, to goof around with that flavor. That's why, to me, knowing your scale relationship chord, again, like say if we're playing 4/4 swing, right here, E7. So again, I'm just kind of borrowing this lick. Then I kind of morph it into something of my own on the resolution of A minor. But again, get it, yeah, you'll get it under your fingertips, all of you will. But again, try to really dig in there. And I'm changing my phrasing a little bit. I'm sorry I'm not more consistent. Sometimes I do this. It's just my own natural tendencies. But, and that's what's written there. So it's going to be 1, 2. We're almost coming to the end for today's session. I kind of want to just play that lick again. Again, imagine this. You have that first 8 bars down. Right here. Really work on these licks. But notice again where I started. A minor lick, this Dorian lick. Again, the same concept that he did earlier, except it's a different direction. Before is this. Well, now it's this. So again, he's taking a lot of these motifs and bringing it back. That's what's unifying this composition, is the recurring motifs, even though it's in a different section. And again, take these concepts into your soloing, even if you're in 4/4 time, the idea of motifs especially. Ouch, that was nasty, sorry about that. But I'm gonna practice this little lick. And that's right on the C7 chord. Right on the root. But it starts on the B. And then the final lick is 1. Let me see if I'm playing that correctly. 1. That's that B7 lick. 1. 1. And then you gotta go all the way back around again to the top. But here's measure 33. Again, assuming you got this. 2, 3. And then here's that measure 33. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I messed that lick up. 1. 1. And again, we're going from 5 to the 1. The B7. Kind of like that lick. Without all the chromatic, so just 1. 1. And then we're back to the top. Let's finish it out again at 33. Measure 33. I know we're on the final few minutes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1. And I would just stop there and do that a few times.
1, 2,
2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3,
I reversed it. Sorry. 1. Anyways, what I'm demonstrating now is I'm practicing just a second half. So I went like this. Oh, well, no, I had the first half in my head, sorry. 1. You guys get the idea there. My fingers hurt, I don't know about you. Hey guys, welcome to Bistro Fada Part 2. We're going to be focusing on the A prime section and also the B section. So far we'll have the A, B, and the A form. So let's get started. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yes, counting really does help. You want to practice to the recording, but you don't want to rely on it, because when it's not there, can you do it just with another rhythm guitar player is the question. You know, I find that that's tricky for, that's the true test. Like people will sing along too, and then they forget the words or something with the song. So you want to get used to doing it with the recording at first maybe, and then get rid of the recording, and then do it to the metronome. And then just do it to a backing track is good, But it's nice just to be able to do it to the metronome, just solo guitar, metronome, and then you add the rhythm guitar and intro on the end of 1. That's very important.
3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
I'm recommending counting with him. 3.
2.
I said him, we don't know what it
1,
is.
2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
Here we go.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1.
All that space.
3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3,
1.
2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2,
3, 1. Okay, that's it. 2, 3. 2, 3. Count those spaces. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. All I can say, it's if you make, I think another important aspect of doing it and playing along with it is mistakes are sometimes, I don't want to say inevitable, because we want to practice it so we do less mistakes, so it gets, more accurate. Because you're going to find yourself, if you reinforce the same mistakes over and over and don't fix the timing of it, if you really I'm not really sure, I just kind of guess where it comes in, then you most likely will always kind of make that same mistake until you really say, I need to take a look at that music. Oh, and I do this too. It starts on the and the 2. I didn't know necessarily where that lick was. And it actually sounds like on this lick, it sounds like he actually does like a 16th note. I wrote it out as a triplet, but it sounds like So because there's a little bit of discrepancy with what he did, and I'm not going to worry about that too much, but you might, again, it's nice to try to get as much note for note as possible. It's pretty close to what he was doing there. So it starts off again, where we just ended was this. And that's it right there, that little lick on. Okay, so again, it's just a little scale sequence there. And then that also is affected too by that variation. So that's the phrase right there where it's different so far. And again, this is just a subtle variation. If you're thinking to yourself, oh no, more stuff I have to memorize to learn, yeah, maybe just wait till you get the A section down is my suggestion. But please give it a try, obviously, too. There, I wrote a slide. So this is just my own suggestion. See that? That's pretty stock to me. I don't even know if I needed to do that, but just in case. Okay, so that's that line there. And then 1, 2, 3. And last time on the A section, he didn't do that little rhythmic riff or hook there. Da, da, da. So he does this time. He did it later, but not on this part of the A section. Then here. And this lick that we all love now is identical. He must like that lick a lot too. 1. Check out what he does here. Oh, okay, no, this is the same. It was the last A is different. So this is all good. Same stuff. And then now we're at the B section. So again, pretty small details. If you printed it out by chance, you might just want to circle it, just so that you know, hey, that's the difference there. It's a triplet on beat 3. So we have to go, this is how we got to practice it, on the 6th fret here. So it's kind of like this, 1, 2. Okay, 1, 2. And I'm going down, up. So I'm actually ending on an upstroke on beat 1. 1, 2. And I'm picking close to the bridge. I want this part to really snap out, jump out at you. 1, 2. And again, if you need that practice of triplets, great little lick. Again, just that entry. Triplets always are a nice pickup idea to make it exciting. Triplets, in this case, they're not hammered and pull, it's just all picked. And now we're gonna do this. 2 upstrokes in a row. Just so I know I could get on the downstroke on the next measure. So right after that 9 on the B, where it says B7, B section there, this 9th fret F sharp, I'm on an upstroke, and then I hit the D sharp again as an upstroke. And then I come down. Okay, and that's again what works for me. I have to think about it though. And that's so I can get that arpeggio again. And this is not too much different from this. Okay, it's the same arpeggio, same B7 arpeggio. So instead of doing this, he's doing this. Okay, I think we should just practice that. 1, 2. Okay. Let's do, and we ended right on beat 3. So 1, 2. Again, we talked about this before, but this is called enclosure. We know B's our main note, but to start above it, and then below it, and then into the note. And then once you arrive there, then you kick into the dominant 7 arpeggio. Again, that's a beautiful upper neighbor, lower neighbor embellishment, similar to this. In this case, okay, it's a beautiful, I'm hoping that you take that and you start your licks off that way, especially on dominant chords, to make it interesting. But you can do that on the major chord too, of course. It's just more of an ornamentation. Okay, let's go on then. The next one is this. Here's a B chord. As we have a little scale fragment. 1, or sorry, I'll just say 1, 2, 3. 3, 4, 5. I'm thinking of it out this shape. Okay. So the timing, 1, 2, 3. This part gets a little bit tricky with the timing there. So let's do that little lick after this. 1. If you guys got that, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2. And then similarly, what we just did down here, now it's up an octave. Again, a great trick. The trick meaning take your lick and move it up an octave. Give yourself this, more. It sounds, what's cool about that idea, when you take a lick and play 1 octave and do it again later in another octave, it sounds motivic. It sounds like you're developing an idea, but it's such an easy trick again too. So definitely practice those type of things and moving things around your different octaves. 1 and 2 and 3, rest. 1, 2 and 3, 1. Okay. I know that one's tricky. I want to do it again. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3, rest. And if you notice there, I made that short. I went, again, those pretty subtle things, like, is that short? Is there a rest in there? It's subtle, I wouldn't sweat over that too much, but those are the type of things that, people get into those details. Is it held or is it short? Let's actually do that, those 8 bars right there. Of course, with the pickup note, so we have to enter the B section by going, so that's on beat 3. Here we go. 1, 2. 2, 3. Rest. Okay, and we could just loop that alone instead of going up the other octave.
2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Section down, and then now we're up an octave, and it's the same idea. So now it's a little bit more notes around that B. So and I would just practice again, doing what I'm doing over and over, getting that triplet perhaps, and again talking metronome. Just a triplet. I'm going to show you just piece it together.
3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
And then a little bit more.
2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
And I would stop there. And actually, I want to analyze this. I stopped here, and then diminished 7 arpeggio, right? You guys see this? We love this. Diagonal diminished 7. You know, we would start down here probably. If you're doing all 6 strings, like this. If you guys want to try this with me, please do. So in this case, we want to do this. I'll do it very slowly. 1, 2. And that's just an E minor lick. And I'm doing it like this. Actually, I went like this. So I'm starting on that measure prior, and then the E minor, and then down here. So, but let's not do that yet. I want to make sure you guys get this B7 phrase here. Licks here. Beautiful phrase again. I hope you get that with the triplet entry. 1, 2. You can just resolve it right there on that E. It'd be beautiful. 1, 2, triplet, diminish. And there I did not shift. It's up to you if you want to do this or this. Again, you're going to find what fingerings work best for you. Lotion so far.
1, 2, 3.
Next time around.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, next time around. Sorry.
2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
I stop right there on that 7th fret joint. Again, these, or vice versa. Take these licks and move it down, like I'm saying, A7. That way you can go back to dark eyes. E7. You know, that might be minus. Let's go on then. It doesn't seem like you guys have questions. Use your first finger for this lick here. So we're going like this. And I'm really pulsing. I think I mentioned this before. On my right hand, pulsing. That's what I mean by, you know, really get into that beat as you're playing boom, chuck, chuck, boom, chuck, chuck. It doesn't hurt to even do that. Play those chords and then go to your lick to kind of really feel the timing of it. So this, you know, especially if when you're jamming and playing and you are trading chord lead, then you're really locked into that beat. Let's finish out the B section. It's almost chromatic, but it's not chromatic. It starts off chromatic. And the timing is 1, 2, and 3, and. 1, 2, and 3, and. So that's a dotted quarter. 1, 2, and 3, and. 1, 2, and 3, and. And then on the next string, beautiful phrase. Just again, it's that part of it is on the harmonic minor. This part of it, that's not in the harmonic minor. It's more natural minor, but I'm thinking of it as a sharp 9, as a chromatic, kind of a beautiful little, you know, tension builder. One on the B7. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, and 2, and 2, and 3, 2. And then we repeat the B section. Okay, and that's really just the B there. Then we go to the A prime, which is, again, the same thing that we had done at the top. Of course, we don't need to review that, but you can add that new section in. And that gets us A, B, A. Next week we'll do the C section, the major key section. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1. 2. Diminish. And then we're, that second time, by the way, I didn't do that, but the second time we do want to take the second ending, after we have repeated that little B section there, we want to take that second ending and then go back into the A prime section. And of course, like I said, you could just do the A section if you want. You don't need to do that subtle variation. The sections are longer. I mean, you're learning, like, you know, I'm treating it like each one of these sections is a tune. So tonight we're going to learn a new tune, the C section. Get started on just play through this together like we've been doing. I think this is a very good method. I do want to stress this though. The fingerings that I chose, I didn't necessarily watch him for this section. I did a little bit more on the other sections, but you want to just find what's comfortable for you. Okay, so for example, this first lick, I realize it's a 3 frets, it's a 1, 2, 4 fret span. You could do this. You know, you could accomplish the same thing. You could do this. But I think I like to group, and I think he does also, a lot of players do. It's often nice to have 3-note groupings on the same string. Just, you know, that way you could do this pattern. You don't have to cross strings. I'm just noodling around again, but I'm taking his lick, his concept, this 3 notes per string, and then just playing it as straight 8th note. I'm sorry, just playing them as 8th notes, not straight. It's actually swung, by the way. It should be this da 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 da. But even that's such a great right hand exercise, which is just this. It's just all 8th notes, you know, but you're swinging it da 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 da. Here it is with the notes. You can see how it's a nice little idea. It's just getting your right hand coordinated. Okay, good. So far, I hope you guys had that with me. It's 2 measures of this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. So it works out beautifully, that for 2 measures of it, it's just, you know, it mathematically makes sense. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and switch. And now this is a B7. Oh, that was a G chord, by the way. Which are these notes, 5, 6, 7. It's very pretty. I'm confessing that I love you, or it had to be you. The 5, 6, 7 of a major chord are just beautiful. So he's going. Now on the B7 chord, that was the 3, 4, 5. So you go from D to D sharp to catch that B7. The next lick that's very similar to what he did earlier on that E7. Okay, that's a very nice turn. Notice the little slide. So this is a pretty common E7, like a harmonic minor riff. And I kicked into a diminished 7 arpeggio. So here's E, here's a flat 9, and from there, you can always bust right into that diminished 7 arpeggio on the 3rd. Oh, sorry, I'll say it from the flat 9, from the 3rd, from the 5th, and from the flat 7. They're all the same 4 notes, so that's registering for you guys. You're going to hear that a lot, of course, in Gypsy Jazz. So the lick again is this, or the phrase rather. And I think you should just stop there. Go. Notice the position change too. That's very important. Make sure you can get there actually to the 10th fret. And my picking is going just down up. But remember that triplet slur is just 1 downstroke, and then you end on the downstroke on the 4th fret. Second, I like to bust out these little licks, extractions I call them. The pulse quarter note. And I think it's a great little exercise. I usually hit the 12th fret or open E, like I'm playing an E7. And then on the 12th fret on the 1st string, I do this. So what I'm demonstrating here is the idea of keeping that pulse. Ba, 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 ba. I'm swinging it a little bit now. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and I want to complete that last lick. So once we did this, so what I think is good, assuming you got to that 10th fret, from the 7 to the 10, you're in this position, but now you should slide up. So it's this. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and I can't talk and do that part. Let's see. 1 lit 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3. Okay, I'm not necessarily saying you guys have to do that. It's nice just to have that metronome going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1 lit 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's the next really pretty lick there. I love that little scale descending with the double strokes. Playing the notes twice there, and I extract. Notice this. Notice the recurring motif. Of course, we heard that before. We heard it up here. We heard it here. Now we're hearing it here. On the D chord. He's on the 3, 4, 5. I think about this. And then now he's on the root. Okay, and the octave. That's a new kind of idea. That little boom, boom. But I would suggest that you try just that little phrase there on the D chord. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And chord 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. I think we should make sure you complete that. And I actually think you should just practice that one measure. This. Okay, and just get us to that G major chord here. That's the 3rd. Okay, see the triad, G. So you have the D. So here's that lick now combined into the G chord. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And there, notice this phrasing. He didn't continue the 8th notes, but he left a little pause. 1, 2, and 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 2, and 3. And if you're wondering what am I doing with my picking hand, I'm going 1, 2, nothing on 2, so I'm hitting this as an upstroke. And most players keep the beat. 1, 2, 3. So the upstrokes are the and, okay? Let's stop there and get that phrase on the D7. Then we'll backtrack from the beginning of that C section and get to there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Again. I did pull back the tempo. Let's just lower. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. 2 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. 2 and 3 and 1. 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Okay? We should do this one more time, then we'll go on to the next part. This gets a little bit tricky because he introduces quarter note triplets. 1 and 2, 3. One, two, three. 1, 2. Okay? I kind of just slightly discussed quarter note triplets. I love that rhythm. It's a very, it kind of builds tension. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So when you look at this F sharp 7 chord here, he has a quarter note rest on 1, and then on beats 2 and 3, you have a 3 quarter notes in the space of 2 quarter notes. So it's 1, da, 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 da. I don't know if you can hear my foot tap. 1, 2, 3, rest. Da, 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 da. That's how that goes. I sang those 2 bars. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, rest. Da, 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 rest, rest. Da, 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 da. Okay, so quarter note triplets, I know that causes some trouble with some people. I really feel like it's a good, important rhythm just to get down, to feel it, sing it. Da, 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 da. But you can feel this, that push-pull. Da, 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 da. Let's get it. Let's get this arpeggio. 1, do, 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 do. And 3, 1, do, 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 do. Rest, rest, do, 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 do. And that second arpeggio, think of the B7 here. And do this, triad. Just the basic building blocks. So it's 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, again, it's almost very kind of Latin-y, like Bésame Mucho. 1, just that B7 part, it's 1, do, 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 do. And then there, once you land on the E, do, do, and then it's do, 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 do. Let's see, do, 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 do. And that's, of course, on the D. Let's speed it up just a notch. So we have that G6. We went 1, 2, 3, 1. Rest, rest. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Rest. Okay, you guys get the idea. I want to start from that same location. 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Rest. Two, three. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, rest. Rest, rest. Right? Got the loop. I'm actually keep going. Get ready. First time. 1, 2, D7. 1, 2. 2, 3. rest. Do, 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 rest, rest. We get to just loop that over and over. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. 1, 2. 2, 3, rest. Rest, rest. Loop. First ending, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, rest. Rest, rest. One more time. One, two, three. 2, 3, rest. Rest, rest. Woo! That's a good workout. Second ending, okay? Now take a look there on that A minor chord here. 1. So I really like that lick. I use that lick quite a bit. It's kind of a bluesy lick. It comes right out of the chord shape. This little, and do you see that little blue note? Right here. So here's A minor. And I just kind of put a rest on 1. That's why I said So 1. Okay, there's that shift. Let's get that down. 1, 2, 3, 1. And I held it. I did not make it short. I didn't do this. I went. Notice my picking if you want as well. I'm starting on an upstroke. 1. 1. 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay. G note here on the 15th fret. Sorry, we're pretty high up there. I hope you have a cutaway, everybody. 1. Okay, 1. It's almost like Mona Lisa, if you guys are wondering. It's almost like this. But it's Let's see. Okay. 1. And then see that bounce back to the F sharp there. And that F sharp is the major 7 of G. It's very pretty. But it's also the E9. The 9 of E. Can we get those 4 bars? A minor, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, let's do that a few times. I think that's a little bit tricky. The timing, the shifting, all of those considerations. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1. 1. Okay. Now that was it's supposed to be held over. I just put a rest on beat 1. Again, those are the small details that I'm not going to worry too much about. If I'm holding in, if I'm resting. But on the E7, we want to do this. 1. That's a really pretty lick there. It's not a flat 9, notice. It's not this. It's this. Okay, I talk about that often. Do you want a flat 9 or do you want a natural 9? Natural 9, and I don't know if I said the word pretty. Flat 9s are very pretty. It's just I always say it's darker, and I always say the natural 9 is pretty. Flat 9, natural 9. You guys can hear that. And oftentimes the flat 9 is used when you're going to go to a minor chord. The natural 9 is used in a major context. And notice that the chord that comes after E7 is A7. Not minor, but major. It's dominant, the triad. So that's why it's nice to have the natural 9. That's usually often how I try to choose my 9s. It's determined by the chord that it's going to. Do I want a natural 9 or a flat 9? I don't always do the flat 9, you know, the diminished concept. So, okay, a little too much theory talk there. Here we go, A minor, 2, 3, 1. 1. 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1. 1. Okay, let's stop there. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1. 1. And I hope you guys all. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1. 1. 1. 1. First ending. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 2, 3. Rest. Rest, rest. Watch out for this section. One. 1. 1. 2, 3, 1. And sometimes I like to move bass lines around too. We'll talk a little bit more about that next week, just as a little special ending lesson on this waltz. First ending. Okay, hey, what I would like to do right now, though, is, let's talk, I want to do chords, then we'll talk about the form, then we'll try to play through it slowly with the recording. But let's start from the very beginning. I want to make sure that you guys just pretend you're rhythm guitar players. You know, you could just play this. So here, I'm doing it away from here. I would probably let the lead guitar player, Stephane Wrembel, if he was doing this. And I would be just really solid in the background doing this. And I would choose a bar chord up here on E minor, 7th fret, and I would do the boom chuck chuck, either, and I'm doing the bass, then chord chord. And I'm just doing an E minor bar chord. And then I would go to G in the bass, so it looks like it'd be a G6 chord here, which is really E minor / G. So we have this. And then F sharp minor 7 flat 5. I'm talking about just the intro. If you were to start off as a band together, where one person would do this, you know, then the other rhythm guitar player would probably do this. So I did F sharp half diminished, minor 7 flat 5. And then B7, I did B7 sharp 5 as my go-to shape in the minor key. So B7 sharp 5. Okay. Bringing on the bass line I feel is important to go like this. And then we're off into the A section, which is just going to be the boom chuck chuck style. And E minor. B7. I'm not moving any bass lines around, just a root. So that was just all E minor to the 5 chord. B7. We're in the key of E minor, obviously. And I'm just doing boom, chuck, chuck, boom, chuck, chuck. Really staccato. Not this. That's a different feel. So we went. B7. B7. So that on that second half, that A section there goes to that E7, where it goes. That lick there's all on this part. A minor 6, A minor 6, and that's on this part. So we have A minor 6, E minor 6, or sorry, E minor, and then C7. We're almost done of the A section. B7. And then it repeats to the A there. B7. B7. Repeat. You can do loud, soft. E7. A minor 6. Stay there. C7, B7, and then you can put a B7 there as a turnaround. Be my rhythm guitar player. I'll play the lead, you play rhythm for me. 1, 2, 3. Then you get to start right on the tune, okay, or right on the melody. So just get ready. You're gonna do this. Boom, chuck, chuck. 1, 2, 3, 1. One, two, three. 2, 3. 2, 3. 1. So hopefully you guys at that point can feel the chords there when it goes to the 5, when it goes to that secondary dominant, the E7, to the 4. You know, that lick. When it goes, you know, you want to hear that lick and know that you're on the E7 chord. That pulls you to the 4 chord, A minor. And then da 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 da, dee da 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 da, da ya da da da, da 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 da. Talk about the B section now. The B section, you have B7. It goes to the 5. That's why I said it kind of focuses more on the 5 than the 1. So it reverses. It starts on the 5, then it goes to the 1. Back to the 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5. Let's repeat. 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1. And then we're back to the top. That's A. B7. E7, A minor. Stay on my A minor, E minor, C7, B7, G6, B7. Now we're in this. Now we're on that C section there. Okay, we had just completed the A and the A, the B, the A. Now we're on the C. Okay, so let's take a look at the C if you need to have the chords. And I think you all are good with those chords. You could do C7 down here. I showed it to you here. By the way, you can also do 3-note shapes. I'm big on 3-note shapes. You can do C7 like this, and then E minor. So it'd be. And also, I didn't really talk about this so much, but the picking to do this. That even getting that rest stroke on there is important too, like this. And I'm kind of hitting both of those. Do you guys know Jimmy Grant? He came by and did a workshop at the school with Tommy Davey at the Happy Valley School of Music about a year and a half ago, now, almost 2 years ago, wow. But they focused a lot on the waltz and talked about the rhythm. And his approach is to do the rest stroke and then to push into the chord versus bouncing off. I'm more of a bouncer. I'd like to do this. So I lift it up. But you can also just kind of rest the pick like this and then push. If you can see that. And you know, it's definitely more economical, but I like to basically do more of this type of approach. And again, you can walk the bass. You can actually do some pretty fancy stuff with that, but I'm just showing you kind of the really basic chord progressions, and you know, you can put the thirds in the bass and all that stuff. You can walk to the bass and add a lot of movement if you wanted to. You know, just to make sure you're getting the chords and you know 3-note shapes or 4-note shapes, whatever you prefer for rhythm guitar. G6, but I'm showing you mainly what I like to do. Here's G6. Okay. You can do G6 here. G6, I like it down here, it's more bassy. Okay, so now we got the B7 chord here. So the melody is this. B7, E7, A minor. Let's do that again. So we have G6, B7, E7, A minor. And that was A minor 6. I said A minor. You could do your favorite A minor, but I'd probably recommend 6. Let's do that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Hopefully hear the, hear that melody. It's really important, I think, to hear where you're at with the melody so that you know like that which chord is which. But you know, I would recommend that you actually do that phrase a few times. So now then it goes to the 5, D7. Oh, we kind of modulate here to G major, the relative major of E minor. So we're kind of a little bit more in the G major section. B7 is a 5 of the E minor, but then it goes to E7, which goes to the A minor, which is the 2 of G, or the 4 of E minor. That's for the D7. Notice I'm playing D9. You know, D7 is just fine. I would not do D7 sharp 9. Or I would not do D7 flat 9. Again, you know, for a rhythm guitar player, it's best to not often... well, okay, you got to know the melody. I was going to say it's best not to play altered chords, but I did do a B7 sharp 5 earlier, just because I know I'm in the minor key. But in this case, since we're in more G major key, D9 is very polite. It's within that G major-y sound, instead of the flat 9, or sharp 9, if you guys know what I mean. So that's why I'm choosing just that. But if you really wanted to be safe, just D7, 3-note shape, or D7 with just no 9 at all. So we have D9, G6, F sharp 7, B7, and then a quick D7 there. If you guys have not done that, let's do that slowly. From that D9 chord, or D7, your choice, G6, F sharp 7, B7, D7, back to G6. Let's keep going. B7, E7, A minor 6. Now let's slow down here. This was that nice part here that's used quite a bit in songs. This 4, C6 to the sharp 4 dim, to the 1, G, to the E7, to the A7, D7, to the G6. So it sounds like this. And then put on that B7 to take us back to E minor. D9, G6, and then F sharp 7, we could go right here, B7, D7, and that B7 was only for one measure, then it goes to D7. B7, by the way, is a 3-fret distance connection. That's very important actually, because B7 is a 5 of E minor, and D7 is a 5 of G major, so they're actually related. And you can do the same diminished run. I don't know if I want to get too involved into some of that concept, but that's how that works. B7 to the D7, back to the G. The second time could just go B7 to E minor, of course. Okay, so what else was I going to say about? I think I was going to say something about that F sharp 7 for yeah, you might want to put the third in bass, like this, F sharp 7, and then go to the third, which is F sharp slash A sharp, B7, D7. I'm being just a little bit fancy here, just for fun. Yeah, just to move the bass a little bit. When you know it's gonna go in the cycle of 4s, it's nice. So check it out: F G6, F sharp 7. Oh, you're gonna hear it. Again, I'm getting a little bit fancy here, but that's where I like to put the thirds in the bass. Okay, on those dominant chords. B7, B7 slash D sharp. Actually, just B slash D sharp. E7, E slash G sharp. A minor 6. And then D7, D slash F sharp to G. Okay, so it sounds like this in context. show you this little movement that I did. I think I showed it to you last week, but I really like this. C major 7. And again, I know you're going to look at the chart and say, well, you wrote C6. I think I wrote C6. But again, as long as it's a major chord, that's all that matters. It could just be C triad. C major triad is very kind of in that style. But I just chose C major 7 to jazz it up a tiny bit. So C major 7, C sharp dim 7. Notice where I'm playing it. And then I would put G/D here to the E7, A7, D7. If you want to get tritone, you can put that A flat there. Leslie likes tritone sub. B7. And then that's... I'll play softly so you hear the recording more than... B7. B7. E minor, B7. E minor. E7. A minor 6. A minor. E minor. F sharp, or C7, B7, E minor. B. Up. B7. E minor. B7. E minor. Get ready for the E7. A minor 6. A minor. E minor. C7. B7. I'll get that right one of these times. B7. E minor. B7. It just repeats back and forth. E minor, 5, 1. B7. E minor. B7. E minor. B7. E minor. B7. B7. E minor. B7, E minor. B7, say there. E minor. B7, E minor. E7, A minor 6. A minor 6. E minor. C7. B7. E minor. Here we go. G6. B7. E7. A minor 6. D9. G6. F sharp 7. B7. D7, G6, B7, E7, A minor 6, C6, C sharp dim, G/G, E7, A7, D7, G6, B7, E minor. B7, B7. E minor. B7. E7. A minor 6. A minor 6. E minor. We're almost done. C7. B7. E minor. I have my talking metronome. We can put on the recording, slow down, which is probably the next, or really the best thing, but it's kind of nice again to not, because you want to practice to the recording, but you don't want to rely on it, because when it's not there, can you do it just with another rhythm guitar player is the question. I find that that's tricky for, that's the true test. Like people will sing along too, and then they forget the words or something with the song. So you want to get used to doing it with the recording at first, maybe, and then get rid of the recording, and then do it to the metronome, and then just do it to a backing track is good, But it's nice just to be able to do it to the metronome, just solo guitar, metronome, and then you add the rhythm guitar in. The measure I'm looking at right here is measure 21. And it's on the B7 here. And it does this, I'm going to break it down really slowly again. We have this triplets. And notice I even wrote the slide. So we have a triplet hammer pull. And even notice my picking, that the triplet should all be one downstroke. And then on beat 2, another downstroke, not an upstroke. It should just be this. I think last time I mentioned, I wrote an etude for Sweet Georgia Brown. That type of little lick there, that turn around the root, embellishment, whatever you might want to call it. Okay, so really, to me, on measure 21, if you're just to practice it, it would be this. That's the first chunk of it that I would just practice, this. 2 beats, it's just 2 beats. And then I did an upstroke, by the way, on 7. I went like this. So once you get that down, I would now add more on. And this, by the way, if we just focus on this second half of the measure, we have this. So this, we have this. That's where last time again I said, you can make that a lick. It's a beautiful lick again, just that little bit of information. I just went B, E, A, D. Okay, it's kind of darker, by the way, when you have that flat 9 or a flat 2. I'm thinking of it as a flat 9, the sound. If I want, we're just kind of extracting. If I wanted it happier sounding, I would make that a natural 9 and not a flat 9, like this. Flat 9. So you have the flat 9, and then you have the natural 9. Okay, so let's go on. Now, if you have that, there's the rest of it. You have the flat 7 to the 8. I would stop there and just do that over and over. So here it is slow. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, and 2, 3. 1, and 2, and 3, and 1, and 2. And if you want to watch my picking, so I'm going. Okay, if that helps you get in that rest stroke. And I ended on up. So I'm going down, up, down, up. 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, and. Now this is where some of you, you're picking here. I like to do this. I'm alternating everything for that arpeggio. I'm starting on measure 22, and it is a B7 arpeggio. So this is important, here's a B triad, here's B7. So my picking is, and I'm talking about picking too. know some of you might do consecutive downstrokes, and that would be fine. Okay. So again, this is just measure 22 to 23. Here's that B7 arpeggio. And that might be tricky. Just that E minor triad. That's a good little lick to practice. This. And of course, you know, things like this that actually makes a nice lick. You know, you can take these ideas. So that whole phrase there, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then, you know, I like to move these licks around. Here it is on A. I might use it on Dark Eyes. I know it's in 3/4, but hey, still you could throw in these phrases like that. A lot of players do. It's not always right on the beat, so you know, that could be a Dark Eyes phrase there. I just played that note for note, except I ad-libbed a few extra notes. So you get the idea of how useful these licks and phrases can be. Oh, one more, I like talking about this because I think, again, there's a lot of good stuff to offer. What if I want to play the same lick, but I want to end in C, maybe I'm in the key of C, and I have G7 to C. Listen to this. I had to think about it before I say major. Instead of minor, C major. And notice also on the G7, instead of doing the flat 9, I didn't want it as dark, so I did the natural 9. And then to the A7, B7, C to the F. You can see what I mean. You can, one lick, you can extract and move it all around through a whole song. That's an etude right there. You can be in 4/4 swing time. I'm going to borrow that one. You'll see it in my other etudes. Okay, so again, that's how I feel. Hey, you can learn this lick really well by doing that and moving it around. So I hope that helps. Let's go with this. On 28, it's... And that one is trickier, I do have to admit, because later on there's a variation on that too, and it gets, you know, it's like, whoa, wait, that's different. So it's hard to, it's easy rather to get confused on what the lick really is again. So we have this, don't forget it starts off here. Okay, so it's kind of a longer one. So I'm assuming we have this. That's what I talked about last time, like, hey, get there. Now, I think of it as here. Notice that lick is no different from this. See what I mean? It's the same lick, just up high. You know, that's this. So, you know, practice that. And I'm still doing that same picking motion that I did earlier. Okay, so now we have, this is the trickier part. It's kind of like, it almost like, to me, it's like, ooh, is he gonna bust into a diminished arpeggio? it's not. It's a harmonic minor scale. In the full scale would be this, but he skips the A. So it is kind of like an arpeggio. That'd be like a flat 9, this. But here's A. See, he's omitting that A. He didn't want to resolve it yet. So yeah, this. Okay, so that's what I would practice on that. I'd go. And I'm thinking about fingering. Oh, I messed up because my fingering is this. And that's how much of that lick I would just practice. Here it is slow. Let's see, I actually want to start from here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Then I switch fingerings. And I went on, but I would have stopped there. So again, I would just practice this. Over and over, many, many, many times. It's a beautiful lick, harmonic minor scale. If you're writing down, taking some notes on the analysis, A harmonic minor for the E7. And then resolves to A minor. Okay, well, that wasn't what he does, but this. That's his resolution there. So we have, but I stopped here, but we also have to get this triplet. I'm pretty much doing all these triplets, except for one later. I'm pretty much using my first finger when I can. To slur, to get that hammer pulled. But I would just practice this. And that's the full lick there. That's how I would do it. That's, again, that's how I like to break down these licks. But I would also move that one around. I didn't move it, but move it to D7. Now you can use it in G minor. There. There's a little extension of that lick. It doesn't end right on the beat. He adds 2 more notes to it to extend it over, and that's kind of a nice little compositional thing there. Not very square. You guys know what I mean, right? Instead of just doing this, I'll play it as written, or I'll play it how you might think it should go. That would be kind of what the standard. But he goes. He kind of extends that little phrase there. All I can say, it's if you make. I think another important aspect of doing it and playing along with it is mistakes are sometimes, I don't want to say inevitable, because we want to practice it so we do less mistakes, so it gets more accurate. Because you're going to find yourself, if you reinforce the same mistakes over and over and don't fix the timing of it, if you really I'm not really sure, I just kind of guess where it comes in, then you most likely will always kind of make that same mistake until you really say, I need to take a look at that music. Oh, and I do this too. It starts. Oh, okay, it starts on the and the 2. I didn't know necessarily where that lick was. And it actually sounds like on this lick, it sounds like he actually does like a 16th note. I wrote it out as a triplet, but it sounds like So because there's a little bit of discrepancy with what he did, and I'm not going to worry about that too much, but you might, again, it's nice to try to get as much note for note as possible. It's pretty close to what he was doing there. And again, this is just a subtle variation. if you're thinking to yourself, oh no, more stuff I have to memorize to learn. Yeah, you know, maybe just wait till you get the A section down is my suggestion. But you know, please give it a try, obviously, too. Again, we talked about this before, but this is called enclosure. We know B's our main note, but to start above it, and then below it, and then into the note. And then once you arrive there, then you kick into the dominant 7 arpeggio. Again, that's a beautiful upper neighbor, lower neighbor embellishment, similar to this. In this case, okay, it's a beautiful, I'm hoping that you take that and you start your licks off that way, especially on dominant chords to make it interesting. But you can do that on a major chord too, of course. It's just more of an ornamentation. Okay, let's go on then. I think if we don't need any more work on that, I'm looking at the music, so you guys can just type in on the chat here if you're like, wait, do that again. I'm happy to do that or answer any questions too. So the next phrase now, by the way, we're on B7, B minor. I'm just doing bar chords. B7. Okay, the next one is this. If we do it with the chords, sorry, we have to come in on beat 3. 1, 2. We could do that a little bit slower if we need to, but you know, hopefully you got that B7 arpeggio down. I think that's what the focus of this. Oh, I have to talk about this little lick again. We talked about this before, but this is called enclosure. We know B's our main note, but to start above it, and then below it, and then into the note. And then once you arrive there, then you kick into the dominant 7 arpeggio. Again, that's a beautiful upper neighbor, lower neighbor embellishment, similar to this. In this case, okay, it's a beautiful, I'm hoping that you take that and you start your licks off that way, especially on dominant chords to make it interesting. But you can do that on a major chord too, of course. It's just more of an ornamentation, what we just did down here. Now it's up an octave. Again, a great trick. The trick meaning take your lick and move it up an octave. You know, give yourself this, you know, more, it sounds, what's cool about that idea, when you take a lick and play one octave and do it again later in another octave, it sounds motivic. It sounds like you're developing an idea. But it's such an easy trick again too, so definitely practice those type of things, of moving things around your different octaves. Short, I went, again, those pretty subtle things, you know, like is that short, is there a rest in there? It's subtle, you know, I wouldn't sweat over that too much, but those are the type of things that, you know, people get into those details. Is it held or is it short? And I would just practice, again, doing what I'm doing over and over. Getting that triplet, perhaps. And again, talking metronome. Just a triplet. I'm going to show you, just piece it together.
3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
And then a little bit more.
2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Stop there, and actually I want to analyze this. I stopped here and then diminished 7 arpeggio, right? You guys see this? We love this. Diagonal diminished 7. You know, we would start down here probably. Actually, sorry, this one would start on the 5th fret if you're doing all 6 strings, like this. If you guys want to try this on a B7 chord, you can start your B7 Arpeggio on C, the flat 9. You can start it on D sharp, the 3rd, on F sharp, the 5th, and on A, the flat 7. So on the A one here, it's this. And then I just resolved it here to the E minor. Makes a nice little lick. And here I hit B, I'm in 4/4 time now, like I'm playing swing. 1, 2. So again, I'm kind of making this lick longer, actually. I'm starting, just to show you the arpeggio, this. E minor, of course, E minor 6 in this case. So, you know, that's fun. Make sure you can do that. I think that's a very gypsy jazz sounding thing to do. And then I just do these little embellishments. So in this case, we want to do this. I'll do it very slowly. 1, 2. And that's just an E minor lick. And I'm doing it like this. Actually, I went like this. So I'm starting on that measure prior, and then the E minor, and then down here. So, but let's not do that yet. I want to make sure you guys get this B7 phrase. There's like the B section, all those diminished, or you know, these arpeggios. Like, oh, okay, no, well, let's walk through this. So that's why earlier I was like, oh, okay, no, we'll definitely be going over this. This is tricky stuff here. But it's very, very, you know, gypsy jazz to me, these licks here. Beautiful phrase, again. I hope you get that with the triplet entry. 1, 2. You can just resolve it right there on that E. It'd be beautiful. 1, 2, triplet. And there I did not shift. It's up to you if you want to do this or this. Again, you're gonna find what fingerings work best for you. A lot of gypsy jazzers use these 2 fingers. Jimmy Rosenberg uses these 2 fingers a lot, almost like a lot more than, well, or these 2, I'm sorry, this is Django. These 2. So, you know, I can't finger it like that, but again, people will do what works best for their fingerings. So again, take fingerings with a grain of salt. Apply it to what works best for you. Those little licks are definitely, you know, that's why I said definitely you want to make sure you get this lick down. But now you have this. I mean, again, you can just slowly build on this. I would actually suggest go to some songs where there's a lot of E minor. I'm trying to think of some songs. The only thing that pops in my head right now is 4/4. If you guys know that song. Well, guess what? You know, you throw these licks in right there. I'm trying to, or you know, again, you might want to transpose a song or something that you normally play in D minor and play it in E minor or something. Again, these, or vice versa. Take these licks and move it down, like I'm saying, A7. That way you can go back to Dark Eyes. E7. You know, that might be minor swings. Some really beautiful licks in here too. So that's kind of how I'm treating this, learning the song as like phrases, your phrase building. But you can also see the harder part of it is to make it all flow. So it sounds, you know, like it seems like you guys have questions. Use your first finger for this lick here. So we're going like this. And I'm really pulsing. I think I mentioned this before. On my right hand, pulsing. That's what I mean by, really get into that beat as you're playing boom, chuck, chuck, boom, chuck, chuck. It doesn't hurt to even do that. Play those chords and then go to your lick to kind of really feel the timing of it. So this, especially if when you're jamming and playing and you are trading chord lead, then you're really locked into that beat. It's very different from learning a tune. This is like a classical piece in some ways. There's a lot of notes to it, and not only that, it's a longer form. The structure in like a standard 32 bar form, the A section is only 8 measures long. We call that AABA song form, generally speaking. But in this case, the A sections are quite a bit longer, 16 measures in length. The B section is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16 bars. And then, so the sections are longer. I mean, you're learning like, I'm treating it like each one of these sections is a tune. So tonight we're going to learn a new tune, the C section. You want to just find what's comfortable for you. Okay, so for example, this first lick, I realize it's a 3 frets, it's a 1, 2, 4 fret span. You could do this. You could accomplish the same thing. You could do this. But I think I like to group, and I think he does also, a lot of players do. It's often nice to have 3-note groupings on the same string. That way you could do this pattern. You don't have to cross strings. I'm just noodling around again, but I'm taking his lick, his concept, this 3 notes per string, and then just playing it as straight 8th note. I'm sorry, just playing them as 8th notes, not straight. It's actually swung, by the way. It should be this da 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 da. But even that's such a great right hand exercise, which is just this. It's just all 8th notes, but you're swinging it, da 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 da. Here it is with the notes. You can see how it's a nice little idea. It's just getting your right hand coordinated. Okay, good. So far, I hope you guys had that with you. Again, make it a practice pattern. Again, you can play around with dynamic. Etc. You can play around with a lot of different little nuances there just to have control. And again, if that's too big of a stretch, how I wrote it out, try it here. Or try here. Or try here. It's a little little bit duller on the third string. It's brighter on the second string. If you guys hear that, it's even more, let's see, duller on the fourth string. Even if I pick closer to the bridge. So again, those are the considerations on what string are you playing it. Here, first string and second string, of course, are the brightest. Okay, good. Let's move on. I hope you guys have that little lick. And I kicked into a diminished 7 arpeggio. So here's E. Here's a flat 9. And from there, you can always bust right into that diminished 7 arpeggio on the third. Oh, sorry, I'll say it from the flat 9, from the third, from the fifth, and from the flat 7. They're all the same 4 notes, so that's registering for you guys. You're going to hear that a lot, of course, in Gypsy Jazz. So the lick again is this, or the phrase rather. And my picking is going just down, up. But remember that triplet slur is just one downstroke, and then you end on the downstroke on the 4th fret. So even if you need to practice this, I do want to do this for a second. I like to, bust out these little licks, extractions, I call them. So again, that's just good. I talked about this last week. The pulse quarter note. I have a worksheet where I demonstrate this chromatic lick with the slur, I call it. I like for you guys to do this with me for a second. I think it's a great little exercise. I usually hit the 12th fret or open E, like I'm playing an E7. And then on the 12th fret on the first string, I do this. So it's kind of a very, cool Django-y lick. So I'm taking on the 12th fret, just doing the half steps, triplet slur. So it's this. Really focus on trying to make those triplets even. You don't want this. That's not even. You have to keep those triplets. If you want a triplet, you want to keep it even. It's harder slow. But imagine this in, now I'm in 4/4, for example, minor swing, or whatever your favorite Gypsy Jazz song is. So what I'm demonstrating here is the idea of keeping that pulse, bop, 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 and also getting that triplet. I kind of just slightly discuss chord and note triplets. I love that rhythm. It kind of builds tension. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So when you look at this F sharp 7 chord here, he has a quarter note rest on 1, and then on beats 2 and 3, you have 3 quarter notes in the space of 2 quarter notes. So it's 1, da, 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 da. I don't know if you can hear my foot tap. 1, 2, 3, rest. Da, 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 da. That's how that goes. I sang those 2 bars. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, rest. Da, 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 rest, rest. Da, 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 da. Okay, so quarter note triplets, I know that causes some trouble with some people. I really feel like it's a good, important rhythm just to get down, to feel it, sing it. Da, 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 da. But you can feel that push-pull. Da, 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 da. Okay, I mean, I'm doing it slow, but I was just in 4/4 there. I just kept going. Well, it could have been in 3/4. I was just doing constant chord note triplets. But it's interesting in this case because when you have 3 beats, one of them's a rest. See, then you can fit those 3 chord note triplets over 2. And that's what he does. He goes rest, 3 chord note triplets. Then he goes 3 chord note triplets, rest, rest, 3 chord note triplets, 3 chord note triplets, then a note on the chord note there, and that's how that goes. So it's 1, da 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 da, rest, rest, da 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 da. Okay, now we got to get the notes. I hope you guys got the rhythm for those chord note triplets. Just real quickly, one song I always recommend. This is just my own song that I thought is really important. That's popular. That helps with those chord note triplets is Bésame Mucho, where it goes like this. 1, 2. And that was this da, 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 da. And then check this out. All chord note triplets here. So it's da 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 da. Those are those chord note triplets. It's such a great rhythm. Really has this push-pull feel. Da 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 da. So really think about that. The chord note triplet's a beautiful rhythm. Cole Porter uses it quite a bit in Begin to Begin. He uses it in I Got You Under My Skin. Just a couple examples again. Find those tunes where the chord note triplet is used quite a bit and learn them. Learn the tunes. That really helps a lot. Okay, so let's get it. Let's get this arpeggio. 1, do, 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 da, da, da. And here's the F sharp. Ooh, I gotta tune up. Sorry, guys. But check this out. Here's F sharp 7. I'll tune up in a second. But here's the triad. I'll do it slow. Here's F sharp. So he's only hitting these, he's basically omitting the root. You can actually hit the root if you want to. So you could go like this. 1, do, 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 2, 3, rest. Do, 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 rest. Here's how, I'm just going to show you how I would do it. G6, B7, E7, A minor 6. And then D7 here, I might do D7 or D9. G6, F sharp 7. Okay, that was B7 to D7. And there, B7 here, you know, just I generally say this, and this is especially when you're playing the roots on the 6th or 5th string. You know, you want to be able to just try options. Do you want G6 here? B7 here? Or B7 here? There I chose here. And sometimes I like to move bass lines around too. We'll talk a little bit more about that next week. Just as a little special ending lesson on this waltz. First ending. Second ending there, so we got A minor, be careful here. Yeah, the A minor. Here we go. And that last G6, I had the D in the bass, and I would put G in there, especially if I'm playing rhythm guitar behind somebody. What I'm saying is, put the roots in the bass on this unless you're walking a bass. For that C6 chord, I went here. C sharp dim, G6, E7, A7, D7, G6, and then B7. You just stop, ba-doo, ba-doo, ba-doom, you know, or you hold it, ba-doo, ba-doo, ba-doo. So again, I want to go over another option for that C6 chord, and that's to play C major 7. Especially down here on the 5th string root, C major 7 is very pretty. C sharp dim 7. G6, oh I hear I'm breaking my rule here. I like to go G6/D. This is very common. And then listen to the bass. E7. So we have this. So listen to that a little bit quicker, just the last half of that from that A minor. We have C major 7. Okay, so again, choose, you know, I'm big on 3-note shapes, as many of you know. So that was this. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Just for variation, you can kind of make it long. You get the idea with that. So I think that's pretty straightforward with chords. Have fun. Make it staccato. Make it staccato though. Don't, recommendation at least, just to give it the boom chuck chuck feel. Versus this. We don't want to do it long. We're going to go. Second.